Hey Brewers, I'm Brad. It's Friday. You know where you're at. It's f***ed up Friday time. What are we gonna talk about today? Today, it's something pretty cool that I think a lot of people don't really, and there's some new bits, there's some old bits, there's classic way, new way of doing this. We're gonna talk about hooking up multiple kegs to one regulator. And I don't care if it's pin lock, ball lock, Sankey, you're rocking one of them, buying all that beer. Nothing wrong with pro drinking. We like the pro drinkers. So, you just bought a Series X, maybe you built a Keezer, maybe you bought one of them Danby ones. Either way, one keg is never enough. This much we know, okay? So we wanna get two, maybe we wanna get three, maybe we wanna get four in one of those sweet Series X. Maybe you got a frickin' chest freezer from here to Timbuktu, you can put 20 kegs in that bitch. It don't matter. All you need is one regulator. You might want more than one regulator, but you don't need more than one. Okay, so let's get started. We've got this, the classic. This is what we've been selling for years. This is the red tubing, high pressure. Nothing wrong with this setup at all. It's what all my systems are like this because I've been doing this a while. But now we've got this new, what they call EVA barrier double wall tubing. And it's got these really fancy, so it's like nice, you can see it. It's smaller, it's a little bit more rigid. It's a pretty sweet, and like no clamps, no nothing really. If you're familiar with shark bite or any of those types of plumbing fittings, it's kind of the same idea. Now, up until recently, the problem with this was that the only way you could split it off to do multiple kegs was with these T's. So, one in, two out, and then if you want to do four, you have to do that 2 more times, right? So that's all great. It's a little bit expensive for all the bits. What I love about these bits, literally just push this in, turn it, boom. Almost scary how easy that comes apart. But if I don't press the button, we're good, right? So the problem with these splitters, yes, they will get your pressure to 4 different kegs. However, they don't have any backflow valves. This just flows right through. So if you have, say you've got one keg that you're trying to carb quickly at 30 PSI, and you hook that up and it's at 30 PSI inside this keg, and then you hook it up to your 12 PSI serving pressure system, what's gonna happen is it's actually gonna push back. It has the potential to push back into the line and potentially all the way back to your regulator where it can cause damage, it can even cause a dangerous situation. Well, what are we gonna do about that? Okay, so you could put one of these valves on and turn it off in between, but then you gotta remember to do that. That's lame. Beer is not about remembering things, it's about forgetting things. So finally, we've got our hands on these manifolds. We've been selling these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10-way manifolds the whole time, but we've never had the ones with the MFL threads. Before they just had a barb. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go grab you one of the old ones so you can see. So here's one of the old ones. And then you just put that on. Let's get a clamp. And then we clamp it on there. Pretty straightforward. But then we got a problem here, don't we? That doesn't work like that. And so this is all we had for the longest time, was these barbed ones. So now we've got the MFL. And what that allows us to do is we can run red tubing, or we can run EVA barrier. Doesn't matter. You could have half and half. It's fucking great. This allows you to have a manifold with backflow valves, each individual backflow valve, each individual shutoff. The other thing about not having a backflow valve is, okay, say this is going to 2 kegs, okay? So this one here is, we've been drinking it, it's already half gone. The other one that's imaginary is we're just carbing it up today. We're just starting it. So this one is gonna kind of lose a bit of its carbonation as this one comes up. With backflow valves, that wouldn't allow this one to lose any pressure at all, thereby keeping it just nice and happy, okay? So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna set up one of each. We're gonna set up a EVA barrier, and we're gonna set up the classic red tubing and show you how that works. And like I say, as long as all the beers are the same pressure, like you wanna have 12 different IPAs on tap, well, they're probably still all gonna be at 12 PSI. So it doesn't matter, one regulator. If you like really heavy duty Hefeweizens that are sparkly, or lambics, and stouts on the same line, you're probably gonna wanna go for a dual regulator or 2 separate regulators that will allow you to do 2 different pressures. If you make a lot of the same beer, like I said, I don't care if you have 100 kegs, you could run it off 1 regulator. So let's get into this here. So these Duo-Tight little bits will allow us to also work with any. So there's Duo-Tight connectors, but the Duo-Tight connectors only come in ball lock. They don't give you anything for Sankey, they don't give you anything for pin lock. What are we gonna do about pin lock? Well, as you can see, our Duo-Tight is ready to accept the EVA barrier tubing just the way it is. Okay, boom, done. Our pin lock, not so much, right? So we can put a swivel nut on it and put it in here. Regular swivel nut like this guy right here. And then put it into our red tubing just like that. Put a clamp on there. Bam, that's how we do the old school ones. I mean, it's not even old school, it's still new school, it's just whatever, options. So, could I use this to hook up to this? Not a chance. And it's not just because the barb is too big. So what are we gonna do? Because some people, you've already got half a setup or you're looking to upgrade, but you're like, well, I have some of this, some of that. What am I gonna do? So, Duo-Tight thought of that. Instead of our swivel nut that we'll go with the red tubing, we just put one of our MFL Duo-Tight adapters on there. And then, boom, we're in business. Even if you have the quote unquote old school connectors. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hook up this guy, our pin lock on the red tubing. We're gonna do our ball lock on the EVA barrier, and then we're also gonna do a setup for Sankey kegs with our EVA barrier tubing. And we'll hook up those three, okay? So, we wanna go in and we wanna go out. So this is our in, we got our 4 outs. So let's start with our in, and with these adapters, they're plastic, so we don't need to put a gasket in between. So we have these little tiny neoprene washers, a whole bunch of them in there. So if we put our swivel nut, which is in here somewhere, but if we're gonna make metal swivel nut to metal MFL, we gotta put one of these little babies in there. And don't mind my dirty hands, I had an incident with some PL Premium. It's you should see that too, it's in the garbage. All right, so we put that in there like so. I don't know if you can see that, Travis. And then we just screw that on there like that. And of course you want to tighten these with a wrench, not just with your hands, but for the purpose of this video, boom. So that's our first one. So we're gonna run our old school pin lock on that like that. So, boom, 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 boom. Couple of, oh yeah, we got our clamps, and we need one more swivel nut. And again, see that little red part? That's our built-in neoprene washer. Boom. 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 And tighten our clamps. All right, line 1 done. There's our pin lock. Now we'll do, so we're gonna assume that this short little piece, that's going off back to our regulator. Don't mess with me. There we go. So there's our regulator. Now we got our first one done. So now let's get into our ball lock gas disconnect. This one is so freaking easy. We take our Duo-Tight connector. We don't need the neoprene washer. Or, sorry, it's not neoprene washer. It's just a washer. I forget the name. Neoprene is rubber. So then we just screw that on there. Again, we're gonna wanna tighten that with a wrench. We've already got this plugged into this end. Actually, I'm gonna cut this off because we're gonna do the third one. So, boom. And there we go. Now we got our ball lock. Now let's do one more. I'm gonna grab a Sankey connector and I'll show you how to hook up a Sankey connector both ways. So this is our chrome, that's chrome with a K brand. Sankey D connector. Sankey D is gonna be all your, pretty much everything North American, which is nice. So this is our beverage outside. We're not gonna worry about that right now. All we're gonna think about is our gas in. So if I wanna hook this up with the classic red tubing, put that, oh, that's a big barb. Put that on, put a clamp, and boom, that's your red tubing setup, okay? That's it, that's all. Now, let's try, how do we do it with our EVA barrier tubing? Well, so we just pull off these two guys right here. That's our hex nut and our gas in barb. And then we replace that with this handy dandy duo-tight connector. And we can also use this for the outside as well for our beverage dispensing. So boom, shove that in. Put another one of our MFL adapters on here. Don't cross thread it, I almost did that. And now we plug that in. So 3 different connectors, 3 different ways. No matter what, you need to hook up some kegs, you need some beer or wine or whatever to come out, we got you, fam. Come down, see us at Grain to Glass. Found this useful? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. It's sippy poo time. Can't wait to see you next Friday. Cheers.